Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to break down a simple but really powerful technique for your academic writing. It's called the Rule of Three, and it's all about helping you create a focused, effective introduction. So, let's get started.
So let me ask you something. Is your introduction really doing its job? We've all been there staring at a blank page, trying to write an introduction that's not too broad but also not too narrow. The whole point of an introduction is to guide your reader, right? But how do you create that focus from the very beginning? Well, that's the challenge we're going to tackle.
The solution, you'll be happy to hear, is surprisingly straightforward. It's the Rule of Three. And all it is really is a technique to narrow down a big topic by introducing three specific related ideas that your essay is going to explore. Now, these aren't your arguments yet. Think of them more like signposts. They tell your reader exactly where this essay is going. The best way to visualize this process is to think of a funnel. It's wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. So, first, you start wide with a general declarative sentence. Then, you apply the Rule of Three, and that's how you narrow the focus. And finally, all of this perfectly sets the stage for your thesis statement, which is that sharp, focused point at the very bottom of the funnel.
Okay, so let's see how this actually works. We're going to start with some simple, clear examples just to get a feel for the structure. Let's take a pretty common academic topic, technology in education. That's a huge subject, right? So we definitely need to narrow it down, and fast. We'll start with our broad declarative sentence. This statement is true, it's general, and it sets the stage without really making an argument. This is the top of our funnel. And now, we apply the rule to narrow that big statement down. We can specify that technology's integration has influenced three distinct areas: teaching methods, student engagement, and access to learning resources. See? Just like that, your reader knows exactly what your paper is going to examine. All right, let's try another one, just to make sure the pattern sticks. This time, our topic is leadership in organizations, another really broad field. So once again, we start with a simple, factual, and broad opening line. This is our anchor. And here's the narrowing step. We funnel down by getting specific with three key areas: employee motivation, decision-making processes, and workplace culture. Now the scope of the essay is suddenly clear and much more manageable. So just by following these simple steps, you've taken a vague, general topic and turned it into a clear plan. You've basically given your reader a roadmap, and you've created the perfect runway for your thesis statement. Okay, so now that we've got the basic structure down, let's see how we can build on this technique to create a more advanced, more formal academic style. Elevating this technique is really about two things. First, it's about using more precise academic vocabulary. And second, it's about signaling a clearer analytical purpose. You're showing the reader you're about to engage with some complex ideas. For our next example, let's take a look at the topic of social media and how it affects communication. So here's our declarative sentence. It's still broad, but notice the language. Using a word like transformed already gives it a slightly more academic feel. And now, pay attention to the vocabulary here. Instead of saying something like how we share news, we use the more formal term, information dissemination. Instead of how we talk to each other, we say interpersonal interaction. See the difference? This phrasing signals a much more serious, analytical approach. All right, now for the highest level of academic writing. At this stage, you don't just introduce three ideas. You introduce them by referencing the scholarly conversation that's already happening.
Let's go back to our leadership topic, but this time we'll approach it from a more advanced theoretical perspective.
Our opening statement here sets the context. It tells the reader we're specifically talking about the evolution of academic theories about leadership.
And here it is, the key difference. The 3 points aren't just concepts, they are specific named theories right from the academic field. And by including citations right here in the introduction, you're showing that your entire essay is built upon existing scholarly work. This advanced application does so much heavy lifting for you. It immediately establishes your credibility. It tells the reader which scholars you're going to be engaging with. And it provides a crystal clear structure for the body of your essay. Each of those theories will now become a major section of your paper. So, let's bring this all together. The entire purpose of this structured introduction, from that broad first sentence all the way to the Rule of Three, is to lead logically and inevitably to one thing: your thesis. By using this funnel method, you've created what we call a predictive introduction. There are no surprises. Your reader knows the topic, they know the specific areas you're going to explore, and now they are perfectly prepared to hear your argument, your unique claim, your thesis statement.
So just remember that a great introduction isn't about revealing everything all at once. It's really about building a clear, logical path for your reader to follow. Now that you've set the stage so perfectly, the only question left is the one your reader is waiting for you to answer. What is your argument?